Good morning to you all, and a very warm welcome to everybody who is here in the room and to the more than 400 people who we have registered to attend online, and apologies to the online group for the slightly delayed start. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aideen Hartney and I am the Director of the National Disability Authority. And for anyone who might need a visual description, I'm a short white female with some brown shoulder-length curly hair. I'm really delighted to welcome everyone to this year's hybrid annual conference. As you all know, our conference this year focuses on Article 30 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and we've prepared a very exciting programme for you today. I hope you'll all come away with a better understanding of this multifaceted article and ideas as to how we can all work together to improve the participation of disabled people in cultural life, recreation, leisure and sport in Ireland. Before we begin, I'm going to just quickly run through some of the housekeeping arrangements for the day ahead. For those of you who are physically present here in the room, in the unfortunate event of a fire, which, touch wood, won't happen, please exit downwards via the stairs on both my right and my left to Lansdowne Road, and the assembly point there will be beside Elvery's shop. The toilets are located down the corridors, again on both my right and my left, and there's an accessible toilet in each section. We also have a changing places toilet available this year. It's just outside the main entrance downstairs, so you might likely have passed it on your way in this morning, but if you go down to reception, somebody would be able to direct you if you get stuck. Today, we're joined by Irish Sign Language interpreters. We have Aoife, Michael, Shannon and Vanessa, and you're very welcome. There's also a screen with captioning provided by PCR on my right, and there is a quiet room at the end of the corridor to my left for people who may wish to use it. But any of the Aviva staff or any of the NDA staff are available for support and directions if necessary. And just to help you with identification, my NDA colleagues are all wearing badges with pink lanyards like this, so look out for the pink. And again, as those of you in the room know, today we're using social interaction stickers, and most people have put these on their name badges. So just a quick reminder to think of these when you're engaging with other attendees. So green sticker indicates that an attendee is happy to have social interaction with anyone. A yellow sticker signals that that attendee is happy to interact with people they know or recognise. And a red sticker signals that the attendee would prefer to be left to themselves. For those of you who are joining us online, if you need to control the ISL interpretation, you can use the interpretation icon on the bottom of your screen. It's the one that looks like a little globe. On some screens, it might be organised under the More button. If anyone is attending remotely and experiencing technical difficulties, you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to alert an NDA member of staff, or you can email the nda.annualconference@nda.ie address. That's the same email address that you used to register for the conference and that you received your conference link from. We will have staff monitoring that address all day, and they'll be available to assist you if you experience any difficulties. We've incorporated a question and answer session after each panel discussion, and during that session we'll take a mix of questions from the floor and from online. If you're participating online, just use the Q&A function to raise a question. You won't be able to see each other's questions, as this can be disruptive for people using a screen reader, but they will be visible to us. For those in the room, we have roving mics. So wait for the microphone before speaking, please, so that those online can hear your question. And before posing the question, if you could state your name and if you're affiliated with an organisation, to please also identify that organisation. Some of you will have already noticed that we have a photographer with us today. Photos taken at today's event may be used on our website or our social media profiles and in future NDA reports, so if you would prefer not to feature in any of those channels, please just let the photographer know. And we're recording the conference for people to access after the event. So we'll have that available on our website and our YouTube channel in the coming weeks. As this is a Zoom webinar, the online attendees will not be visible in the recording, but anyone attending in here and anyone who asks a question as part of the Q&A session would be recorded. If you're on social media, I'd encourage you to tweet about today's event and use the hashtag NDA Conference 2024. And we're also really delighted this year to have stands from a small number of organisations. They're down the corridor to my left. And in keeping with today's theme, we're thrilled to host an arts exhibition entitled Connecting Artists Collective from the Connections Arts Centre. And this includes work from a number of artists with intellectual disabilities. So during the breaks and lunchtime, do please feel free to browse these stands and exhibitions and have a chat to the people at them. So now you'll be relieved to know, without further ado, I am going to introduce the chairperson of the NDA, Kathryn O'Donoghue. Kathryn has served on the authority since 2018 and she was appointed chairperson in September 2022. And she brings a wealth of experience to this position, including over 30 years of extensive leadership experience in the business sector and senior experience in companies such as Google, General Electric and Ernst & Young, as well as experience of being a supporter for her brother who had an intellectual disability. So Kathryn, you're very welcome. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Aideen, for a very flattering introduction. For those who might need a visual, I am a woman who has just entered her 60s, grey hair, glasses, but hopefully I look a bit younger than that description sounds. I'm really delighted to welcome you all to the National Disability Authority's Annual Conference 2024. This year's conference is the 5th in a series where the NDA has examined a particular article of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And today, we are delighted to consider Article 30, which addresses the participation of people with disabilities in cultural life, recreation, leisure, and sport. The UN Convention has, for many years, informed and shaped our work in the NDA as the independent statutory body with a duty to provide information and advice to the government on policy, practice relevant to the lives of persons with disability and to promote universal design. I believe that we are now at an exciting juncture for further progressing implementation of the Convention, with greater awareness and recognition of the importance of the UNCRPD across the public sector, imminent ratification of the optional protocol and the development of a new national disability strategy. As many of you in this room know, the NDA assisted the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth earlier this year with a national public consultation to inform the development of the forthcoming national disability strategy. It was a huge undertaking involving over 30 focus group discussions across the country, a national survey, 4 large consultation meetings, almost 20 interviews, and over 80 written and video submissions. We also commissioned consultations with seldom heard from children and adults with disabilities. Issues relevant to Article 30 did feature in this consultation, with barriers to participation identified, including inaccessible facilities and lack of transportation. Consultation participants proposed a range of practical solutions to address the challenges they face, including encouraging theatres, cinemas and other arts venues to provide additional, accessible and autism-friendly performances, enhancing booking and ticketing systems, providing changing places toilets in shopping centres, hotels and swimming pools, in continuing the Irish Sign Language voucher scheme and improving the design and accessibility of playgrounds, sport and leisure facilities. Consultation participants further underscored that opportunities for social recreation and leisure activities have a positive impact on their quality of life. And similar findings were contained in the NDA's National Wellbeing and Social Inclusion Survey published last year. With over 1,000 respondents, of whom 4 in 5 were people with disabilities, the survey results provided valuable insights into the social inclusion and well-being of disabled people, including their participation in social and leisure activities. On a positive note, over 80% of respondents indicated that they find it easy to access recreational or green areas, with almost 3/4 reporting that cinemas, cultural centres and theatres were easy for them to access. And most respondents also agreed that there were sufficient sports and leisure facilities in their areas. On the other hand, however, the survey findings showed that people with disabilities are less likely to take daily physical exercise than those without disabilities. In addition, their leisure time tends to be of a poorer quality, with more time spent on passive and solitary activities. Barriers to participation in social and leisure activities identified by disabled people included lack of inclusion or accessibility, lack of facilities, cost, social anxiety, and issues with transport. Beyond policy and research, other strands of the NDA's work are also directly relevant to Article 30. For example, we examined the issue of accessible broadcasting as part of our review of the Irish Sign Language Act 2017, and another review of that legislation is due next year. We've developed a code of practice on accessible heritage sites to guide public bodies on their obligations in this area. Most recently, we published universal design guidelines for changing places toilets, facilities which are crucial for people with complex needs, attending or participating in a range of sporting, cultural, recreation and leisure activities. In addition, our work in monitoring the EU Web Accessibility Directive involves the monitoring of the websites of public bodies central to realising Article 30, such as Sports Ireland, the Arts Council, Screen Ireland and Libraries Ireland. Looking forward, the NDA's Centre for Excellence in Universal Design will also have an important role to advise and guide on the implementation of the European Accessibility Act. Apologies for that. We at the NDA also recognise that the arts can serve as an important tool to promote inclusivity, diversity and disability awareness. Our annual Someone Like Me art competition seeks to do just that, by building an understanding amongst primary school children of the similarities and the differences between people's abilities. And entries for our 2024 edition are currently open. Before concluding, I am really delighted that Minister Rabbitte is joining us today, not only to deliver on our opening address, but also to launch our new strategic plan today, which will cover the years 2025 to 2027. This plan, which was informed by engagement with our wide range of stakeholders, many of whom are in the room with us here today, sets out our high-level objectives and goals for the next 3 years. I'm very proud of the work achieved by the organisation over the lifetime of the previous strategic plan and truly look forward to building on this progress over the coming 3 years. Unsurprisingly, a key focus for the organisation will remain supporting and guiding implementation of the UNCRPD. The NDA brings particular skills and experience to support this work, including through our high-quality research, in-depth policy analysis, monitoring work, and our focus on data and statistics. The plan is now available on our website, but it can also be accessed through the QR codes around the room. It now gives me great pleasure to invite Anne Rabbitte, TD, Minister of State with responsibility for disability in the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth, to open our conference here today. So please join me in welcoming Minister Rabbitte. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for having me here this morning. Thank you, Kathryn, for the introduction. And in keeping with the theme, I'm wearing a pink jacket, which is keeping in the theme of the NDA, with a pink and white scarf. The hair is not done, so it's incredibly frizzy. I'm totally mortified about it. I tried to get into blow at 7:30 this morning. It didn't happen. So the hair is real West of Ireland style this morning. And my glasses, of course, are on my head. So, as I say, good morning to everybody. And I'm delighted to be here at this year's NDA Annual Conference. And I want to congratulate the NDA on another impressive programme. There is an incredible wealth of talent and expertise amongst the speakers, the performers and the artists in the room, and also the talent along the hallway as you walk down to have your coffee or your lunch later on today. These conferences are invaluable in building greater understanding of the UNCRPD and in bringing stakeholders together to discuss both the challenges and the solutions to realising the promise of the Convention. I really welcome the attention afforded to Article 30 and the timely opportunity this year's conference provides to put spotlight on the less talked about articles of the Convention. Article 30 is a broad provision touching on many areas crucial to the participation of people with disabilities in Irish life. But more broadly, Article 30 covers elements which are either intrinsic to or contribute to the social and cultural fabric of Ireland, binding us all, disabled and non-disabled people, together. These include arts and culture, film and theatre, tourism and broadcasting, sports and cultural heritage, recreation and leisure. In recent years, my department and wider government have taken a range of steps to improve the participation of people with disabilities in social, cultural and community life in line with Article 30. And we must do more. That is why inclusion and active participation in society are key considerations in the development of the next National Disability Strategy. The vision underpinning the strategy is of a more inclusive society, and it will provide a blueprint for the genuine advancements of the rights of people to live, work and thrive in autonomous lives of their own choosing, and to replete with all options for leisure and enjoyment that is their human right to enjoy. This focus in the strategy is informed by what we have heard throughout the consultation process. Of course, I am very much believed in the power of the phrase, nothing about us and without us. And from my perspective, it is essential for lived experience to feed into policy design, development and implementation. Ongoing thanks are due to our NDA colleagues for their leadership throughout this process, facilitating 34 focus groups, 118 interviews and more than 500 responses to the national survey, analysing more than 80 written submissions and supporting 5 town hall style events online and in person, of which I attended quite a few of them, and it wasn't all based in Dublin. They moved outside of Dublin, which was really, really welcome. Participants spoke passionately and convincingly throughout in support of initiatives that would empower disabled people to become more involved in social, community-based and recreational activities, to support disabled people to be active participants in cultural spaces, activities, communities of their choosing. These inputs will continue to inform discussions across government and with stakeholders as we move towards finalising the strategy, and it will be a blueprint for the advancement of the UNCRPD in Ireland. This focus has already found articulation in the Autism Innovation Strategy, which I was proud to launch in August of this year. The Autism Innovation Strategy seeks to identify and deliver tangible solutions to address the challenges faced by autistic people across Ireland. It will be implemented over an 18-month period and includes over 80 actions across 4 pillars, one of which, fittingly for today's focus, is accessible and inclusive communities. There are a range of actions under this pillar designed to realise Article 30 for autistic people. These include measures to enhance the participation of autistic people in arts, culture, sport, broadcasting and the creative media sector. The NDA's choice of Article 30 is a particular timely given Ireland's recent sporting success in Paris this summer. I was privileged to attend the Paralympic Games, and I want to congratulate all of our outstanding Irish representatives of their many successes. And to attend the Paralympics, and I'm going totally off script for those that are watching me online, it's not just about the Paralympian, it's about their family. It's about their aid, it's about their guide. And when you understand the challenges, and at the same time, when we talk about Paralympics, it's para too, but with an awful lot of extra need and support to actually get there. But words of support must be matched by action. That is why Disability Participation and Awareness Fund 2024 will support a range of new projects relevant to Article 30, such as sport, physical activity, arts and culture. The overall aim of the fund is to support the participation of people with disabilities in local activities and promote the implementation of the UNCRPD in communities. Last month, my department launched the next call for applications under the fund, and I encourage all of you to check the Rethink Ireland website for more details. To date, 40 community groups or organisations have benefited from the Disability Participation Fund. Finally, I am now honoured to formally launch the NDA's new strategic plan, which will guide the work of the organisation over the next 3 years. The NDA occupies a unique role in the disability landscape, and I am delighted that its new strategic plan focuses on maximising the agency's many strengths in pursuit of an Irish society where persons with disability experience full inclusion and where their rights are recognised and realised. Since becoming Minister of State for Disability, I have worked closely with the NDA and its boards in several areas crucial to the realisation of the Convention, and I am pleased that the UNCRPD will remain at the heart of its work. Guided by the new strategic plan, I am confident that the NDA will continue to deliver in its vital role of providing advice, information, research to government and the public sector on policy and practice relating to people with disabilities and promoting universal design. As a sportswoman myself from the west of Ireland, I am delighted that Article 30 has made its way onto the stage here today. I think, be it sport, be it culture, be it music, I think there is a space there, disabled or non-disabled, that we all have the right to enjoy equally. And I was delighted to hear you there talk, Kathryn, in relation to getting to the cinemas, getting access to the theatres, getting access to the public venues where we have many a display put on. And I do think as well, while it's great to see development going into sport, and if there's anybody here from Sport Ireland, it is great to see, but actually we need to go further. We need to go so much further. We're actually, if you're looking at a 100-metre race, we're probably at the 30 metres of the 100-metre race. And that goes back to the Department of Sport. And I'm delighted to see with the sports capital grants that have been given out, disability is one of the segments within it. And women is the other segment that has made its way into it. Climate is the other, and then it is community. But we have a long way to go to ensuring that all of our sporting organisations understand inclusion and participation and equity to access. We need to ensure that actually there is Tarmacadden available where the bus can stop so as we can let down a chair. We need to understand that we might need to break that extra wall to make that toilet that we count as a toilet, but it needs to be accessible, inclusive for all. As I said when I met with the NDA earlier on, if I have another 5 years in it, I'm telling you, there's a few things that I would like to see changed. And that is the piece where we have to move away. We're now funding, so we now need to audit to ensure that the money is spent for inclusion, for participation. The clubs and the organisations who are made up of the most amazing volunteers, we now need to ensure that they actually have the skill set to understand what active participation looks like, what inclusion looks like, and understanding the challenges. And I see Niamh Daffy is down there, and herself and myself would have talked about this over the last 5 years in relation to it. And she's now moved on to tourism. And I talk about the tourist sites. And I know the wonderful work that the OPW do in protecting. But there's no point in protecting it if we're locking people out. We need to ensure that everybody can access the sites. And it's important that we have the visuals, that we have the braille, that there is really good understanding. And I want to acknowledge the role of Minister O'Donovan when he was in the OPW. He opened a new building, and outside it was done in braille, so you could know what you were going into. And then when we talk about the Paralympians, and I'll finish on this note, and it goes back to Sport Ireland. And we need to ensure that we fund our athletes equal to all others, to our main Olympians. We need to ensure that when we decide that we are giving funding to get in a designer to do the clothes for the main Olympians, the designer does it as well for the Paralympians. We need to ensure that if somebody needs a prosthetic, that it is funded. That they do as an elite athlete, that they are supported all the way. And then when they make their way out of sport, that they are funded into employment or their next segues. They're real conversations. I don't want to just see Jason Smith when the Paralympics is on. I want to see him on television on a mainstream all of the time. That's real inclusion. That's real participation. That is what we need to be seeing, mainstreaming first. And when we get to that level, and that's not going to happen today or tomorrow, it's going to take time. And that's why this strategy, the next 3 years strategic plan, I think is a really good benchmark here today of where we're going forward. But to have as your final of your 5-year talks of the different articles, to acknowledge the role of culture, art, sports as part and parcel of everyday life, I think is really important. But we also need to ensure all our partners across all of the different departments, all of the different agencies, also have that clear understanding that when they're calling funding streams, that inclusion, participation, equity and equity is actually the underpins it all. That is what needs to happen going forward. I want to applaud again the work of the NDA, how they have supported and worked in conjunction with our department. It has been phenomenal. And they're a really strong bunch of people in delivering exactly what is the core value theme here: equity of access, equal participation in all of our communities. Gora Mahagat.
Thank you very much, Minister Rabbitte, for those words, and I'll just take this opportunity to thank you and your colleagues for their support over the last number of years for the NDA's work. And in your remarks, you really highlighted the wide range of work being undertaken by your department and others to realise Article 30. So it was great to hear about that. And also acknowledging the interconnection that is required across various bodies and departments to realise solutions to some of the challenges that people experience. And we certainly agree that the forthcoming National Disability Strategy offers a real opportunity to build on progress to date and further implementation of the UN Convention. I think we look forward to supporting this work during the lifetime of our own strategic plan that you've very kindly launched for us, and hopefully we'll get a little bit further along in that 100-metre race that you mentioned. And I also want to take this opportunity to welcome the recent government decision to ratify the optional protocol to the UNCRPD and congratulate you, Minister, and the many people joining us here today who've championed this issue over the last number of years.